Vegas glitters like a promise made of pure gold. Yet behind that promise waits a shock you will not forget. Welcome to Global Homeless News, the place that shines a light where big media refuses to look. Every night, the Strip explodes with neon, spinning roulette wheels, and cheering crowds. But only a few streets away, another crowd fights to stay alive. Millions fly in chasing jackpots in Sin City, but thousands leave with nothing except the weight of lost dreams. Hidden under the glow of billion-dollar resorts, families sleep in cars, tents, and forgotten alleys, battling heat, hunger, and fear every single day. The latest city report counts nearly 8,000 people in Las Vegas with no safe bed, a jump of 20% in only 1 year. That massive leap sparks a chilling thought. What lures so many dreamers into a town that can swallow paychecks as quickly as a slot machine eats coins? For many, the pull is the classic American fantasy, a fresh start where luck rules the table. Yet when luck runs dry, the lights turn cruel and hopes crash hard. Vegas is a place of razor-thin margins, where glittering wealth stands shoulder to shoulder with quiet despair. Sky-high rents slash deeper every month while wages crawl, and the safety net that once caught workers now has holes so wide you can see the desert through them. Here is a number that stings. Out of 100 renters with low pay, only 14 can find a home they can afford. That shortage pushes entire households to spend more than 30% of every paycheck just to keep a roof above their heads, leaving no cushion for a blown tire or sudden illness. Since 2020, the average rent for a one-bedroom has soared far above $1,200 each month, a cost many casino and hotel workers simply cannot cover. Imagine serving cocktails to high rollers while worrying about where you will sleep after your shift ends. The gap between the winners and the workers grows wider with each bright billboard. Tourism pumps billions into city coffers, yet the stock of low-cost units keeps shrinking as luxury towers rise, crowding out the very people who make the magic of Vegas possible. Every new glass tower lifts profits for investors, but it also pushes long-time residents toward the edge of poverty, leaving them to wrestle with mental health battles, addiction, and the brutal desert night. Before we go deeper, hit like and subscribe, then tap the bell so you never miss a story that powerful hotel ads do not want you to see. The spread of homelessness in this desert playground is not random. It grows from clear causes rooted in money, policy, and chance. Developers chase top dollar, pouring concrete for glossy condominiums while bulldozing the older buildings working people once relied on. Landlords follow suit, hiking rents after each remodel because tourists will happily pay steep nightly rates, turning whole neighborhoods into short-term rentals. When rooms meant for families become weekend party pads, long-term tenants get eviction notices and must choose between crowded shelters or the open street. The city has tried quick fixes like sweeps of tent camps, yet every sweep only moves the problem to the next block and leaves despair in its wake. Local charities hand out water in 100-degree heat and run mobile clinics, yet they admit that without real housing, their help is only a bandage. Several residents told us the same heartbreaking story, saying they lost work during the pandemic shutdown and never caught up once the lights came back on. One former bartender who served a list stars now sleeps on cardboard behind a convenience store, telling us that the tips stopped but the rent kept climbing. Another mother of two works the breakfast shift at a buffet, then spends her evenings hunting for an apartment she can afford, time that should belong to her children. Experts warn that if action does not come soon, the current crisis could double within 5 years, turning hidden misery into a full-scale humanitarian emergency. Behind every statistic stands a person with a name, a past, and the same right to dignity as any high roller checking into a penthouse suite. Vegas sells the dream that anyone can strike it rich, but for many, the only jackpot they find is a spot in a crowded shelter line. Stay with us, because the next part reveals how mental health struggles and addiction grow inside this pressure cooker, trapping even more people in the cycle of homelessness. Danger pulses through Las Vegas like electricity, daring every visitor to place one more risky bet. Behind the glitter sits a grimmer gamble no one wants to face. Mental illness and addiction are now the twin engines pushing this desert city toward a homelessness disaster. Experts warn that nearly 2 out of 3 unhoused people here are also fighting psychological pain or chemical dependency, a brutal double blow that turns survival into a full-time war. Imagine waking up on hot concrete while voices from untreated schizophrenia echo in your head, or trying to calm bipolar mood swings with nothing but cheap liquor. That nightmare is daily life for thousands right under the neon glow. Without steady counseling or medicine, earning a paycheck is almost impossible, so the hunt for stable housing slips further out of reach. The result is a vicious loop where mental turmoil sparks drug use. The drug use deepens the turmoil, and the sidewalk becomes the final stop. Calling this only a public health issue is too mild, because it is also a moral alarm bell. Allowing human beings to unravel in plain sight is a betrayal of their basic right to dignity, and every empty promise of help makes the wound bleed harder. Many stories trace back to childhood trauma that never healed, while others began when life on the street struck fresh mental blows. To numb the ache, people grab alcohol or meth for one short escape, but each sip or hit drags them even deeper into the sand. Then a global storm hit. COVID-19 slammed Las Vegas like a wrecking ball, freezing tourism overnight and wiping out tens of thousands of service jobs in a single week. Casino floors went dark, hotel corridors fell silent, and workers who once kept the party roaring suddenly lined up at food banks praying for rent relief. Eviction bans paused the bleeding for a moment. Yet when those shields vanished, a tidal wave of court notices flooded mailboxes, shoving entire families out into the blistering sun. Unemployment checks and rental aid programs dried up next. And for many, that was the final shove off the economic cliff. Recovery crawls forward, but the scars scream from every tent pitched under a highway ramp. Vacant jobs and luxury resorts cannot mend the damage fast enough, and the number of people sleeping outside keeps climbing with each passing month. The pandemic also hammered national mental health. Isolation, money stress, and nonstop fear poured gasoline on existing struggles. While therapy offices closed or moved online where the homeless had no screen to click, drug and alcohol use spiked. Emergency rooms overflowed, and fragile minds cracked under the weight, tipping more lives into street reality. Now picture daily life in this furnace. Summer highs blast past 43 degrees Celsius, turning sidewalk slabs into blazing skillets that burn bare skin in seconds. Shade is rare, clean water even rarer, and heatstroke lurks like a silent stalker ready to strike anyone without shelter. Each dawn begins another fight to stay alive until nightfall brings only a small drop in temperature and a fresh wave of danger. But what happens when the next crisis arrives and mercy is still missing on these streets? The answer could shock the entire city even harder. Winter in Las Vegas can feel like a silent ambush, as nightfall flips the desert from oven to ice with terrifying speed. When darkness drops, the mercury often skids to freezing, and people without shelter fight for every breath as hypothermia stalks the sidewalks. Lines outside Catholic charities stretch around the block by sunset, each person clinging to hope that a spare bed will open before the door slams shut. Those turned away must face the cold street, where cardboard and thin blankets are the only shields against a night that can steal life in a few short hours. Some escape the surface by burrowing into a hidden world of flood tunnels, earning the eerie nickname Mole People, who carve out a fragile existence beneath the strip's glow. These concrete veins run for miles, yet one sudden desert cloudburst can explode into a wall of water that sweeps everything away in minutes, leaving no time to flee. Even on dry days, the air is foul, sanitation is non-existent, and disease spreads in the dank darkness, turning minor infections into killers that move faster than help can arrive. Above ground, a different enemy waits: stigma. Too many see a homeless person as a nuisance instead of a neighbor, refusing to grasp the tangle of housing shortages, low wages, and broken social systems that push people onto the curb. This harsh judgment blocks compassion, slams doors to jobs, and strengthens laws that chase tent from one block to the next, trapping people in an endless loop of rejection. Survival becomes a daily obstacle course. Some collect cans, others beg at busy intersections, while still others accept dangerous odd jobs that pay pennies yet demand everything, including safety. Predators roam these streets, targeting anyone who looks weak. Physical attacks, robbery, and exploitation strike often, with women facing the added horror of sexual violence and trafficking that thrives in the shadows. For those already caught in addiction, the fight doubles in weight. Substances promise a moment of numb relief, yet the relief burns money, time, and health, tightening chains that drag people deeper into despair. Every sunrise offers one more spin of the wheel in this city built on risk, but for thousands sleeping outside, the odds feel cruelly rigged against survival. A hidden medical emergency pounds through Las Vegas every single day, without an address or insurance. Thousands of unhoused residents rely on hospital emergency rooms for colds, cuts, and chronic illness, turning last chance wards into their only doctor's office. Recent surveys show more than 40% of the city's homeless patients treat the ER as their main clinic, flooding a system already stretched thin and driving public costs sky high. Because basic checkups are out of reach, minor infections grow into raging fevers, and small wounds turn deadly after weeks on the street, creating tragedies that simple care could have stopped. Homelessness also shapes how the city feels about itself. Tourists expect bright lights and easy fun, yet large encampments in parks and plazas spark complaints from visitors, residents, and business owners, deepening tension on every block. With few services close by, some unhoused people turn to petty crimes just to eat, drawing heavy police attention that treats symptoms but never heals root causes. So the cycle spins on. Still, hope refuses to quit. Groups such as the Nevada Homeless Alliance, Help Hope Home, and many church kitchens race to fill empty stomachs, link people to rehab, and guide them towards stable beds, offering lifelines when no one else will. Shine a Light pushes even farther, climbing into flood tunnels to reach the so-called mole people with food, first aid, and pathways out of the dark. Their visits can feel like sunrise underground, proving rescue is possible. The Courtyard Homeless Resource Center adds shelter, healthcare, showers, and job training. Yet overcrowding and tight budgets limit how many it can help each night, leaving long lines that stretch down the sidewalk. Las Vegas needs bigger answers, expanding affordable apartments, boosting rental help, and following a housing-first plan that secures safe rooms before tackling therapy or addiction have shown strong results in other cities. More emergency beds, transitional housing, job coaching, and targeted programs for veterans and runaway teens will build rungs on the ladder out of poverty, turning one-time handouts into lasting change.